We're back on the Anderson-Healey Show from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network with Arizona State Athletic Director Ray Anderson. I'm Tim Healey, the radio play-by-play broadcaster for Sun Devil Athletics, and we're glad you're with us this week. Our next guest is a young lady who had the chance to live her life's dream this past summer. Sun Devil senior soccer player Gabi Rennie was a member of her native New Zealand's national women's soccer team that competed in the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. Not only did she get to play for New Zealand in the World Cup, she got to play in New Zealand, as her home country was the host for many of the games in the World Cup competition this summer. And we are delighted to have Gabi Rennie join us this week on the Anderson-Healey Show and to tell us about her dreams come true this summer. Gabi, welcome to the show. So great to have you. What was it like? What was the experience like for you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, like you said, it's kind of a dream come true, I think. Since I was a young girl and was kicking a football around, playing for my country has always been the biggest goal, but to play for my country, in my country, I don't even think I knew that was a possibility. So,
wow.
This past summer has been a very, very emotional and like incredible moment for me that I'm going to be grateful for forever. So,
was there any one aspect of the experience or any one moment that stood above the others for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't go past that opening match against Norway. We came in the underdogs against a top caliber team. And we walked into the stadium and it was completely packed with fans. We filled out the biggest stadium in New Zealand, broke every kind of record in New Zealand at the time for both men's and women's football there. And yeah, to see New Zealand crowd behind us, then, we won that first match. That kind of moment was, pretty trivial and I think changed the momentum of women's sport and women's soccer and soccer in general in New Zealand. So
that's amazing. And to fill in some of the particulars, it took place on Thursday, July 20th, and it was New Zealand's first ever win, men's or women's, in World Cup competition. It was a 1-0 game, and the crowd number 42,000, which was 3 times the size of the previous record crowd for a women's soccer match in New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm come in at a pretty fortunate time to really see the shift of women's soccer and soccer in New Zealand. So kind of growing up, I didn't have a lot of exposure to being able to play on the world stage. So yeah, it's been amazing to be a part of that kind of process and see the change happen in real time. So
now, unfortunately, we have to shift gears a little bit for one moment because that game between New Zealand and Norway was played 12 hours, or I think less than 12 hours, after a horrible, tragic mass shooting that took place in Auckland, the capital. Is Auckland the capital or is Wellington the capital?
Wellington's the capital. Okay. Auckland's the biggest city.
Right,
yeah.
But I mean, that was just absolutely a worldwide level tragedy. And how was your team able to refocus just 12 hours after something so horrible happened?
Yeah, so that actually happened fairly close to our hotel that morning, and we all found out. And for something like that to happen in New Zealand is very, very rare. I mean, we have fairly strict gun policies over there to avoid things like that from happening. So it was a big shock to a lot of us, and we kind of sent all our love and prayers to the families of those victims. Fortunately, there was limited numbers of deaths. But yeah, it was hard to kind of shift gears and turn around and focus on the game when something like that was happening in the morning. So yeah, it was definitely just putting our focus to the games, and we had a moment of silence before the game for those victims.
So I would imagine an emotional win was even more emotional afterward because of that, huh?
Very much so. I think we were representing a lot more than the game at that point, and being able to do what we could to kind of bring joy to people was a big thing as well.
Now, New Zealand, the women's team played 2 other games in the World Cup, a 1-0 loss to the Philippines, a scoreless tie against Switzerland, and I believe you ended up tied with Norway, but they moved on because they had scored more goals in the competition, right?
Yeah. So the loss to Philippines really hurt us, and that game's going to be pretty frustrating for a lot of us for a long time. And then, we beat Norway head-to-head, but unfortunately goal difference came first and they scored more goals in their game against the Philippines. So, that meant we got knocked out, which was a pretty tough pill to swallow, but yeah, it was an awesome experience nonetheless.
I think I saw on one website the headline something to the effect, disappointment but pride. Is that kind of what you felt, you and your teammates, when your run was over in the World Cup?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to put it. We were really frustrated and upset. I think we surpassed a lot of expectations, but I think during the tournament we set higher expectations for ourselves because we knew we could perform. So it was hard, it sucked, but we knew that we had inspired the nation, and that was kind of something that was beyond what we could expect and was bigger than ourselves, and kind of, so that was cool.
Gabi, that's going to be something that you'll be attached to for the rest of your life. I mean, I can't imagine how proud you must be about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so grateful that I got to be a part of that group in any way possible. And yeah, I think I am very lucky that I was a part of such a trivial moment for women's soccer in New Zealand. And I guess, I'm very grateful that I got that opportunity to kind of ink my name in there. So, yeah.
You know how they say no rest for the weary? I mean, you get done playing probably at the end of July, early August, and then here you are back in the States and back as part of Coach Graham Winkworth's Arizona State soccer team. What was that transition like? I mean, your life must have been a whirlwind those few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a big adjustment, kind of coming back into the heat where it was winter in New Zealand for that World Cup. So
that's right.
Definitely
that's right.
Back into the desert was a bit of an adjustment, but yeah, it's always great coming back here. I love the girls on that team, and I'm excited. It's my last season here at ASU, so I was excited to get back.
And this soccer team is already off to an unbeaten start so far. They've played 6 matches, 3 wins, 3 ties, but no losses so far. How would you evaluate the team's play to this point?
Yeah, we're a very young team this season. We've had a lot of new girls come in, so it's definitely a new team from last season. I think unbeaten's great. We've got a really solid defence line and a great goalkeeper. And so I think now we really just need to build on our attacking force and our attacking threat.
I know Coach Winkworth wasn't overly pleased with the result Sunday, a 1-1 tie with Kent State. How did you feel about the effort in that game?
Yeah, I was unfortunately out due to ankle injury, so I was having to watch from the side, but it was, I think, the general consensus of us all was frustration. I think we have a lot of talent and ability within the team, but I think, like I said, the younger team we're definitely having a bit of lack of experience and a bit of lack of oomph from that Sunday game. So I think we had a lot of frustration, but we've reevaluated. We trained again today, came together and put out a better performance already. So we're gearing up again for Thursday.
What has Coach Winkworth brought to the program in his years as head coach here?
Yeah, I think Coach has such a people mentality. He cares about each individual player, which really brings a lot, especially in the college game. It's pretty easy to kind of become a number, but he's always good at focusing on individuals and what can bring them to their best and how they can help the team the most. So that's always been something that I've enjoyed from him. And he has that winning mentality for sure. I think we play in the Pac-12, which is probably one of the best soccer leagues in the country. And to be able to compete, and we did compete last season, and we're hoping to compete again this season, is a great mentality. So.
And this weekend, the Sun Devils will be competing in a Pac-12 venue as they head down to their arch rival's hometown, Tucson, Arizona. They will not be playing the U of A, however, this weekend. The Sun Devils will have matches Thursday against Utah State and a Sunday morning match in Tucson against a future Big 12 conference rival, the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. How do you feel about those 2 matches this weekend, Gabi? Yeah,
I think these will be our 2 toughest games that we've had out of conference. So it's going to be good for us to really step up our level and prepare us for the Pac play. So we're excited. I think it'll be kind of cool going down south and kind of inking our name in a bit more even there and getting some wins and showing U of A what's up. So
there you go. What do you think is your team's potential this year?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential sitting there. I think we just need that final thing to click. So yeah, final passes, final execution, final shots, and I think that this team will open up into a really strong team this season.
Well, once again, we want to congratulate you on your accomplishment being a member of New Zealand's World Cup team. Again, that's something that's going to be part of your legacy the rest of your life. You should be awfully proud. I know everybody in Sun Devil Nation is proud of you, and here's wishing you and your Sun Devil teammates the best the rest of this 2023 season.
Thank you so much.
That's our guest, Gabi Rennie, Sun Devil soccer player and Team New Zealand member. joining us here on the Anderson-Healey Show. Ray will rejoin me for the final segment of this week's program in just a moment.